Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Nikki. I'm here with Co. And so
Hi.
today, hey, beautiful. So today we're filling in for Coach John. So shout out to Coach John while he is on his road to recovery. He has already come out of surgery and he's doing well. I'm sure he wants everyone to know thank you so much for all of the well wishes and your prayers. And he is in great spirits. So cheers to
Mhm.
that.
Yes, he went home today, so it's exciting.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
So, listen, guys, today I think you already read the Hi Dominga, que lo que? You guys read the title, so it is true. I had to leave. Oh, what's up, G Styles? Que lo que? Dime a ver. I had to leave my fiance.
Oh
So we are
man.
here. Yeah, so we're here today to talk about that conversation. And you guys are going to be asking questions. Co is going to be moderating those questions and letting me know um, what's appropriate for me to answer and what is inappropriate for me to answer. I definitely want you guys to know that I will be as transparent as I can be. I also want you to know that I am single and ready to mingle. So let your, no, I'm kidding.
She said she wastes no time.
Listen,
Hi,
the get back
Dominican.
is getting back. Hey, African Dominican. Oh my gosh, I follow you. Hey, mommy. Good to see you. Yes. Oh, I also wanted to give a shout out to two very special people. My girl Favor
Hi, Carl.
from England, from London, or whatever. Oh, I hope you liked it. I told you I was going to do the accent. And also to my girl Jay. Hey, girls. I love you guys.
All right. Let's see. Do you want to just get started, or where do you want to jump in at?
So I just thought about something too. Oh my gosh. So Rico will be coming in late. Thank you, Pimp Boy. I'm sorry to hear about. Oh my God. Cecilio. Hola, Cecilio. Cecilio is my ex fiance's brother. Hola, hola, Cecilio. Gracias por estar aquí con
Welcome.
nosotros. Ay, Dios mío. Hola, mi amor. Um, no, Quan. Okay. So if you want to, Co, do you want me to just maybe answer a couple of the questions that are coming in first and then come in with your
Sure. What questions do you guys have? Well, Quan wanted to know if it's their fault. Did they? You guys feel like you instigated it a little bit? Do you feel like the chat instigated it, or like the channel tried to instigate issues in your relationship? Did that ever cause any problems between you two, or any arguments?
I will tell you this, Quan, absolutely not. Y'all didn't end anything. He ended himself, so he's welcome. And so we did have one issue with the show, and that, well, actually, two issues with the show. The first one was because one of the times that Jay and I were going back and forth with Hollywood, and we were like, going back and forth in Spanish, and we were kind of like cussing him out. He had texted me while we were filming, and he said, I don't like that. In my opinion, it's not good. That did not look good.
Mm,
And so I, of course, apologized. And I also knew that for my brand, that's not a good look for me to be arguing with people. I am a wellness advocate. In the future, you guys will hear more about my wellness advocacy business. Today is not the day for that, but certainly you guys will hear about that at some point in time. But yeah, that yeah, no, this show had not a whole lot at all to do with that. He did hate on me being on the show a little bit. He felt like he needed to like leave and go try to like do things while we were filming. Like, oh, you're gonna be filming your little show. Let me leave. And I was like, okay, that's ridiculous. I mean, what? But
mm-hmm.
yeah. So I guess until you guys are asking more questions, I can kind of talk about how the breakdown of the relationship started to happen, if that's helpful.
Well, how long were you guys together? Because I didn't know a whole lot about your relationship anyway.
Great question. We were together for a year and let's see, a year and 4 months. Exactly a year and 4 months.
Okay.
He had asked me if I wanted to be serious with him probably a month after we had met. He found me on Facebook
Mm-hmm.
because his aunt and his first cousin have been my friends for over 15 years, and so I guess he saw that we had that friendship in common,
Mm-hmm.
and so he asked me, um, who, how am I, and that whole thing, and that's what started it.
Okay. Wow. Hmm. Well, that was together. Y'all were together a good little bit of time. How long were you guys engaged
Yeah,
for at that point?
we got in. He proposed to me October the 15th of last year.
Okay.
So we were actually going to marry. We obviously spoke about that on the channel. We were going to marry on the 15th of October this year. So
Mhm.
less than a month from now, we were going to marry in the Dominican
Wow.
Republic. Yeah.
Man, that's
And
crazy.
yeah. And here's the other part about it too. I think that a part that I did mention this, that he's half Venezuelan, half Dominican. So culturally, he was a lot different than what I've been used to dating, because I've been dating Dominicans for like the past 15 years. So it was something I thought, oh, let me try something a little different.
Yeah.
And, he did talk a lot about the fact that he's so different from Dominican men. Dominican men are cheaters, and they put their hands on women, and they drink a lot. Like all of these things that he claims that he didn't do and that he was different from. And so I was like, okay, well, we'll see. I had always really um, been very attracted to just men from the Dominican. So, like I said, I
Mm.
wanted to try something different, and I gave it a chance, and I gave it a try, and now I'm like, I'm back to the drawing board, and I'm gonna go back to dating Dominican men again. a
Okay.
hundred percent Dominican men. I don't have anything against Venezuelan men at all. It's just that it was different for me,
Yeah.
but I'm more familiar with Dominican men and the men who were born and raised in Dominican Republic with the culture. So
Yeah.
um yeah.
Okay. Well, we have a few questions. Let's answer some of the questions for a moment. So it looks like Kicks and Travel wanted to know if he was jealous of Manuel, even though Walter doesn't think Manuel had anything to do with it.
Well, let me say this. I know that he had seen a couple of like segments, you know,
Mhm.
of him, and I think he kind of like looked at me, and I kind of looked at him, and in my mind I was thinking, Manuel, he's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I absolutely thought that, but I didn't think of it in the way of I want to holler at him. I just thought, he's a very attractive man. And I also thought to myself, I'm quite positive that that man is married. So I'm definitely not looking at him in that way. But an insecure man and a narcissist is certainly, not caring about any of that. The first thing that they're thinking is she's looking at someone else. But no, no, no. Manuel had nothing to do with that. That's cute and that's funny. And that's a great assumption. I would have made the same assumption, to be quite honest.
It looks like Quan wants to know if he was older than you.
He was not older than me. So I'm 42, contrary to all of this. You're welcome. Because the black don't crack when you know how to act, and the black don't crack when you don't do crack. And sometimes and sometimes, it does crack a little bit when you do one of the two, but sometimes it brings it back. But anyway, no, he is 40 and I am 42.
Okay. All right.
So we were close
Let's
in age.
see. Ooh, African Dominican said, I see you're wearing a ring on your wedding finger. Is that his ring? And Quan was also
Great.
asking if you kept the ring.
I don't even know where that ring is. I like put it somewhere in my what do you call it? In my maleta, my suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
This ring, so this is my right hand actually. And this is a ring that I've had for a very long time that I bought myself. And then this ring is a grounding ring. It's hematite. So this is good for like, oops,
Oh, yeah.
this is good for positive energy. And I just found it today and I was
Oh, you
so
needed
happy that I
it.
found I needed it because my finger felt naked. It just always felt weird after I took the ring off. But no,
Oh,
I I was gonna actually sell that ring today at the flea market. I have a side business.
not the flea
I do
market.
many businesses. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna sell at the flea market. I mean, I'm like, I don't need that in my life. I mean, I felt that I could get at least, $10, $15 for it, for God's sakes.
Yeah, at least. Okay.
Thank you,
Um,
Walter. I appreciate that. I try to
Dominican.
make sure that my inside match my outside. So if someone tells me that I'm beautiful, I want that my insides match my outsides. Or I want my insides to match my outsides. I sometimes say things in the Spanish way, like if I were saying it
Yeah, in
in
reverse.
Spanish. Yeah, like I told my mom earlier today, I text her, I was like, Mommy, I was thinking to do this thing. And then I was like, oops, let me type that a little bit better. And I was like, Mommy, I was thinking about doing this. She goes, Why did you type it like that the first time? I was like, Girl, I was thinking in Spanish. She was like, I knew it.
Yeah, getting the verbiage wrong. Okay.
I do it all
African
the time.
Dominican was asking, how is he different from full Dominican men? That's a good question.
Great question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that he continued to do was to talk negatively about Dominican men. And I felt like, full disclosure, yikes, definitely going to say something here that is his business. Um, his brothers and sisters, his mother's children did not know, and some of them still don't know, that he's half Dominican. So
Wow.
this entire time, they've been thinking that he is full Venezuelan, just like them. I had a conversation with his sister about 2 weeks ago about that because I mean, it's messed up. It's not cool that I did this. I will be honest about that. And I also felt like I'm tired of keeping your secrets, and it's just not right. Like, what are we doing here? Like
Yeah.
your stepfather has passed away. The man that your brothers and sisters thought were your father as well. He passed away years ago. So like, what are we really doing here? Um, but I think that for him, he had this thing in his mind that, oh, I'm Venezuelan, so I'm better than these guys. And it disgusted me because I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what is what. No one is better than anyone. And that's the conversation that I've had with even coworkers because they've said to me, like, when the big wigs come around, you act like you're a big wig. Like you don't bow down or do any of that. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. I,
Hmm.
I I certainly go to them and say, hey, how's it going? How the kids? How's business? I'm not gonna do the hey there, boss. I was wondering, can we that's asinine, asinine. So um what? But yeah, so culturally, I would say that the accent is a little bit different. They're both Caribbean um, people, right? Like
Hmm.
groups, but I don't. That's difficult because one thing that I never want to do is try to say that any group is better than any other group. I do have a preference. My preference is Dominican men, and so being with him, it was kind of like I'm doing something different, like I said before. Um, and now that we're not together, I'm like,
Back to what
I'm
you,
excited.
back to the usual schedule of programming.
I'm excited to get back to my Dominican men.
John
It's a
said
different flavor. Yeah.
Panamanian men are not that bad and they're similar to Dominicans, so you should try them.
Oh, John, honey, let me tell you something. I'm up for it. Okay. Let me just tell you something. I am attracted to Panamanians, Cubans, Dominicans, and Puerto Ricans. I just love Caribbean men. So you're not counted out, okay? Um, if you want to send the DM, do what you do. Um, yeah, no, I'm not counting anyone out. I'm up for trying something new. So
You're so funny. Kicks and Travel is still saying he saw that sparkle in your eye when you saw Manuel, and you couldn't stop smiling when you saw him. He wants y'all. He's trying to ship y'all. He's trying to get
first
y'all
of
together.
all, Kicks and Travel, if that man is married, you had better cut all this conversation out because I never want to disrespect anybody. If he's single, keep it rolling because it's fun. But no, if he is married and has children and stuff like that, like I don't mess around with that.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm no longer in my relationship because my fiance was cheating on me. And
Oh
so that's
wow.
part of the story. And I'm trying to hold out for Rico because Rico with his little salty caress
There
the
he is in
ass.
the
And
comments.
wait, he's here?
He's
Rico's
in
in
the
the comments?
comments. Too much damn misogyny and machismo in the culture. Only a select few can evolve from that mindset. And sounds like he was one of them. Rico, get your ass in the damn live. Get out the comment.
Right. Like, what are you doing?
Right. What's
Rico, the
happening?
people, oh, crusty, extra salty, Rico. Let me tell you something. Everyone's waiting for you to get on because you have the disrespectful questions, and I'm feeling quite spicy today. So I need for you to come on and let's do this. All right, let's do this.
I'm
And
sorry.
again, you're right. He was very much machismo, and for me, it's hard for me to take any type of direction from a person who is not financially doing anything. Like I can't
Mm.
do it. Yeah, I can't do it,
Yeah.
and I decided that I won't do it. Like, how are you broke and trying to control anything in my life? That's absolutely asinine. Absolutely won't happen. Like I kept I kept it so cute, you understand, and I kept it very much respectful until it was just like, see now
Now I
I
gotta
try
pull it out of my pocket. Yeah.
because when I
Hmm.
say I got a slick mouth, like I can go with the best of them. Like in the old school, how they used to call it the dozens.
Yeah.
Don't do it with me. Like please.
So
It can get
you said
very
earlier that he told you that he wasn't like all these things. Sorry, that's my dog in the background with his toy. Um, um, did you see any of those things that he said he wasn't? Like he's like, oh, I'm not controlling, and I don't do this, this, and that. Like, did you find any of those behaviors that came up before that you feel like maybe you glossed over, or did
so
it?
here's the deal. Great question. From the very beginning, he was so attentive and very much like, oh, it's your
Mhm.
sister's birthday, and then your niece, didn't she have her recital and this and this and that? And I was like, oh my God, like you're invested for real, for real. And my first visit, even financially, he was paying for half of the resort and the food and like, taking me around to meet family and very much like just really awesome with me, like just making me feel like a complete a queen. He used to call me a princess, and I kept reminding him I'm a grown woman. You call me queen. Don't call me a princess. I'm very sweet. I'm very sweet, and if it has to go there, it can get crazy. And that's I love the conversation that we had backstage a couple of times ago. That I was like, people get it twisted because I am sweet and I am very compassionate. And on the other side of that is a Leo that will make you want to jump off of a bridge. And after I make you want to jump, or that you do jump, then I feel horrible because I'm like, I love everybody.
Yeah.
At any rate, let me bring it back to my question. So the first trip was great. The second trip, no, actually, I got proposed to on the first trip. And then the second trip, I started seeing some stuff. There was one night where I was stuck at my godmom's house in Santo Domingo. And at the time, I didn't understand how InDrive works or like the any of the transportation there. I still didn't know about that or how it worked. And I was so upset because I'm like, I paid all this money to come here and you've left me at my godmom's house for 2 days in a row. She doesn't have TV, she doesn't have internet. I'm out here with like the cows and the roosters and stuff, and I didn't really have good internet connection on my cell phone either. So it was just frustrating for me, and I felt like that was so selfish of him to do that. And that was like the first time that I ever thought like this is really effed up. Like I would never leave a person that I love basically stranded in my country.
Yeah.
Like although this lady was like a godmom to me, it was my second time ever seeing her in person. I had met her years ago online with my roommate. It was my roommate's mom. And I had known her for years after that. So she became like a second, like a god, like a godmom to me. But anyway, when
What did
it
she
came
say about that?
about,
When you were there for two
oh,
days? What did
she
she
was
feel?
happy
Like, did
because,
she get mad at you, or was she mad at him?
no, she was happy. You know why? Because we went to the grocery store and she didn't pay her half when she was like,
Oh,
"Oh
okay.
yeah, I'm gonna look for the money. I'm gonna look for the money." That's how in Spanish. She was like, "Ay, sí, yo busco el dinero. No, no, yo voy a buscar el dinero." And I'm thinking she's saying like she's gonna look for it in her purse. No, no, she meant like at some point. And I was already
Eventually.
low. Yeah, I was already low on cash too because of all the money I had already spent on that specific trip. But yeah, no, she was happy to have me there and wanted me to stay so that I could continue to pay and do things. And so, oh, that was just crazy. But by the time I actually finally made it back to where he was, he had to pay 800 pesos for the cab, and he was livid. And I
Mm.
was like, the nerve of you to be mad about paying 800 pesos after I've already spent thousands of actual USD dollars. Like 800 pesos, that's like $18 site. Like, you can't be serious, bro. And you're mad about that. And I cried this night. And do you know this man just like let me cry? He wasn't like, oh, I'm sorry or any of that. He did not console me. And we
Wow.
were in an apartment. I'm gonna say whose apartment because I don't want to make anyone feel bad about them being helpful and kind and giving us that space for us to be. Understand that I don't like New York. I don't like close close spaces like that. Like I'm a country girl. I grew up riding horses like out in the country. So I don't
Yeah.
like that. This was a studio that had no running water. Literally not like the sink didn't have running water. The toilet did not have a seat.
Mm-hmm.
The gas for um the stove or the cooktop whatever had no gas. So and there was so much dust. There was so much dust that like I had asthma attacks there and hardly could breathe. It was just when I tell you a nightmare. And the apartment was probably 400 feet, like square feet. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was a nightmare. And we were there for like 7 days. And he would go off to work and I would just be there.
Wow.
So when I say that I went through hell in this relationship,
Why? What
I
made you stay
definitely
in it for so long? Like, what was the if you were doing all of that and going
the
through all of that?
buy-in,
Mm.
the buy-in was that he was still being very sweet and like, oh, let me do this for us, let me like romancing me. very much romancing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and at that time, on my second trip, I didn't know or find out that he was cheating on me at that time. Although this girl had hit me up a couple of times, like from day one, from like the second month. And I'm like, I don't play those games. So I went on ahead and called with him on FaceTime with her. Like, I'm sorry, what were you saying about my man? You were saying what now? And she said nothing. Like she wouldn't even come to the
Mm.
camera. So I'm like, all right. So that was the first red flag 2 months in. But I felt like, well, if she's not even gonna come to the phone and say anything, like, all right, she BS and whatever. And then months after that, it happened again where she hit me up, and I'm like, yo, what are we doing, dude? And she still like was BSing around and wasn't saying anything. But here's the deal: this last time, it was really messed up. I had called him. Now this is before I took my last trip, and there's probably gonna be so many comments and questions after this because this is I'm gonna keep it raw and real. Ay papito, deja.
Make sure y'all
That's my
respectful
dog.
in the comments because I will put you in timeout very quick. Don't laugh at people's
Thank
pain.
you.
You can ask your questions if you have questions, but don't be a jerk. John's not here tonight to save you. Can you get
Thank
the
you. Because I can't even see the comments right now either, which is good because I can stay focused.
yeah?
But and also not let my ego take control of the conversation. So that's good. Um, so on this trip, before I got on the plane, it was about 2 weeks before that. That same girl called me while she was with him at 7 o'clock in the morning. And she
Mm.
was making noises as if they were doing something. And I heard
What do
him
you know
grab the
they weren't?
phone. Nah, it was weird because she had texted me before it happened from his phone. It was like, I'm here with my man, da 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 da. And I was like, girl. So then I called like immediately. So I kept calling and calling and calling. Of course, no one answered. So when someone did answer, they finally answered. It was her, and she starts making moaning noises. And literally 2 seconds into her making the moaning noises, he grabs the phone and he's like, "Tu ta loca, eh? Like, are you crazy?" And takes the phone and hangs it up.
Mm.
He wasn't moaning. She was doing all the moaning, and it just sounded like fake. Like it wasn't like, girl, please. And I
Yeah.
know him. I know what he does when he's actually doing things. You understand? And that's not
Mm.
what he does when he's doing things. All right. So he calls me 10 minutes later. Oh yeah, my roommate let her in. She crazy. Man, I made a mistake. Like he did not apologize because he does not believe in apologizing. He does not believe in asking for forgiveness.
That wasn't a red flag.
Girl, honey, first of all, I never got red flags from this relationship. I got red billboards. Okay.
Mm.
I got red billboards. They weren't little flaggies. No, no. It's a whole billboard. Like, and I went on through with it. You understand? Like, girl,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Do you feel like it was
Like I
love
told you,
bombing in the beginning? Like the way he was treating you and paying for this and that? Like, is that what you consider it? Or
that's exactly what it
hold
was.
on, animals fucking fighting. I'm sorry. Y'all, I got this in the chat. Look at this cat.
That was okay.
And they're like
It was
fighting
it
each
was
other.
all love. Oh my gosh, she's so cute and little. I love them when they're that little, like kittens, but I don't like cat. Why does your dog look like he's Papito's brother? That's hilarious. And Papito's down there barking right now. Anyway, but yeah, so he love bombed the shit out of me. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, he definitely love bombed the shit out of me. And yeah. But so after that whole situation, I was like, I gotta go keep my eye on him, which is like ridiculous. Anytime anyone needs to keep an eye on anybody, it's done already. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's done. Like, we're grown. I don't need to have to keep an eye on anyone. I think for me, I felt like, God dang, bro, like I'm so invested already. Like, let me at least go and see what's up. But I had already told my ex. who lives in Puerto Plata, like, look, homie, uh, I might need to have you come pick me up if things don't work out with me and this guy. And he was already like, nah, leave that guy. And it
Mhm.
wasn't like leave that guy and get back with me. It was just leave that guy. Because he and I are
Yeah.
like, we're almost like brother and sister. You know, I will hook him up with a friend if I have a friend who had was not my friend when I was with him, because that would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't hate like, yo, this guy, he's a millionaire over there in DR. So like he's very, business and like stuck up. Ooh, I hope he's not watching. Oh, yikes. No, he's probably
Not
watching.
in a bad way
Um,
though. Clearly, you guys are like,
I mean, yeah, he knows. He knows what I mean. But yeah, so anyway, I forgot the girl. I've gone off on a tangent. Does anyone have a good question? Because
yeah,
I can see that there are more comments.
African Dominican has some questions. She asked, "When did you break up?" It's the
I left him. Hold on one quick second, because
okay.
my Papito is acting a goddamn fool down there. Let me mute you for just a second.
Okay, and while she's muted, I'm gonna answer Kendra's question. We're doing good. Coach is doing good since the surgery. It was Friday afternoon. He was released and he went home this afternoon. I took him, I think it was around like 11, 12 o'clock. We were leaving today. So he's just recuperating and just pray that his body's healed more. I think they added an extra screw, so he went from a level 5 to a level 6. So hopefully this will take away a lot of his pain and issues.
That was great. That was great. That was great. I was not obviously, I wasn't laughing at what you were saying. I was laughing because my sister was like, "No, he's okay. I don't want to ruin your life.
Mhm.
He's okay." And I'm like, "No, no, no. He's acting a goddamn fool down there."
Yeah.
Um, Easy said put him
You want
in.
to add
Okay.
Easy to the live?
Yeah, if he wants to come in and ask questions, and yeah, it's all good.
All right, I'm gonna add him right now. Hey, Easy, how are you?
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Good, and yourself?
Good, good.
The weather done broke up here in the northeast. It's
Hmm.
officially fall and it feels like fall. It's
Yeah.
raining. It's been raining all day.
And
I've been
I'm in
helping.
North Carolina, so it's
No,
happening a little bit here too.
no Kakalaki, the best state in the union, baby. Yeah, I've
If
been
you say
listening.
so.
It is. It is, man. It has everything. Yeah.
Okay. Well then, so have you lived here before? Have you been here or lived here before?
I normally go there every year. My family's from there. My roots. We have a family reunion down there every year. Near Fayetteville. It's one of those small towns. It's not Fayetteville, but it's near Fayetteville.
What's the name of it?
You know Scotland County?
Okay, I don't. I was like, oh, maybe I'll know, but
Okay.
no. But I
You
do know
know,
Fayetteville. So that's
Lombard?
Mhm.
South Carolina.
No, Laurinburg.
I think there's a
No,
Laurinburg, South Carolina too. I didn't know
no,
there was a
it's
Laurinburg, North Carolina. Is that in?
yeah.
Is that near the like the mountains?
It's going out. It's about an hour from the coast, maybe two. So you wouldn't
Gotcha.
know it. It's
Okay,
small place. Yeah, I love it though.
real
But
real quick. Can you hold your question for just a second? Because I did not
yeah.
finish asking answering African Dominican's question. Um, she said that I seemed to be holding up really well, and did I love him, and was I in love with him? So I love that question, African Dominican. I was
Mhm.
absolutely, completely, crazily in love with him. From the time that he proposed to me. That was the way that he did it was super special. We were hanging around with friends of his, and it was a party for me, which I didn't realize it was for me. And it was Dominican music being played the whole night, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my favorite country song came on. So I knew in that moment, like, oh my God, this is the moment. And I was like, yo, the fact that he thought about that detail, like, wow, he really loves me. He really cares. Like, that's crazy. So that happened. And of course, I still love him, and I hope that he's okay mentally. Like I hope that he is safe in general. And the reason that I can say that I'm holding up so well is because I realized the day before the altercation, I had already had in my mind, like, yo, if one more thing happens, I'm done with this shit because this is like, I should have already been done with this. I know better than that. Like, as a wellness advocate for the business that I do and the way that I help people, I knew that I could not be successful in doing my business. I knew that I could not teach and help other people and encourage them to be brave with their lives when I was not being brave with mine. So I knew that by me um, not leaving or making the hardest decision of my entire life, I knew that like I could not be successful doing that. So when he did what he did, I was like, that's it. And I felt like, thank you. Thank you for giving me that last little thing that I needed to be strong enough to leave you. And I remembered how resilient I've always been. And I remembered, although I lost an incredible amount, like you guys have no idea. You can imagine how much I lost. Moving from one city back home, saving up money for a house for us in a different city. I changed my entire life for the relationship. I literally went there to live. I did everything for that. And I also knew that I did it because I wanted to do it. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all because I did something very scary. And I can now help my clients to do scary things and say, you don't know my story. Let me tell you a little bit about me. So that's that. I hope that answered the question.
And I appreciate too because it shows that like people don't have to feel silly. Everybody gets caught up in like love. Like if we're honest, like it's so easy to do and we're so hard on ourselves, but it's easy from the outside looking in. You know what I'm saying? To see the issues and be like, clearly you shouldn't do that. But when you're in it, you know, it gets so easy to overlook those things. So I appreciate you being like somebody who's a professional and you're like, I do this and I still feel in line for it and I know all the signs and I should have known, but I was just invested in my situation. And everybody's gambling in their relationship. Like you're gambling that
Abs-
person really cares about you and that they really love you and all of that. So I appreciate you for sharing and being so open.
yes. Thank you for that. And to add to what you're saying, to piggyback off of that, I am a huge advocate of ourselves having compassion for ourselves. Like if I didn't have compassion for myself, I would be beating myself up. I wouldn't even be able to have this conversation with you guys. I would be behind me in that bed, up under some covers, embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed. Like I don't have anything to be embarrassed about. I have everything to tell the truth about because I know that many other people have been through this and have been made to feel ashamed and sad and like, oh, you look stupid or whatever. Me, oh, hey Rico. I feel
Hello,
incredibly
ladies.
empowered. Hey boo.
Hello, ladies.
Okay, before you get going, I do want
I'm
Easy
not
to
going
be
to
able
go
to
ahead. I'm
ask or say
listening.
what he.
I'm listening.
I just want to say I'm keeping up with y'all questions. I see some people like Kicks and Travelers. Like my question, I promise, even if we get off track, I'm making note of everybody's questions and we're gonna get to all of them. I promise you. So if we get off track in the conversation, don't worry. I'm not gonna miss you. We're paying attention to all you guys and we wanna, you know, involve everybody in it. So don't feel left out. Where we go? I'm sorry, go
Easy.
ahead, Nikki.
Oh, I wanted to hear what Easy. I feel like Easy had a question, and I
Okay.
had paused him for just a second to finish up the answer that I had for African Dominican.
Yes. Rico, what up, baby? How you
Rico, you
doing, Rico?
I'm doing good, sir. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm
I see.
blessed, brother.
Good. Good to
It's
hear.
raining. Yeah. My question is, I just want to get some factual questions down. How long were y'all actually together?
A total of a year and 2 months.
And he proposed to you after a year, or
No, he proposed to me the 5th month.
on the
of
fifth
us
month.
meeting. Yeah.
Now, from what you said, he works in construction. He makes pretty good money for out there in Dominican Republic. So it's not like he was in a rush to get to America, correct? No?
Nah. So great question. When I first met him, he actually worked at a motorbike place where they like do, I guess, repairs for the scooters or whatever. And he was working 12-hour days for like sometimes 6 to 7 days out of the week. And I guess I do actually believe that that was something that he was truthful about, because we would FaceTime while he was working there, and I could see like, oh shit, he's there. Um, but he ended up quitting after we had been together for like 4 or 5 months, like just before. Oh yeah, just before I went there on my very first trip, and he might have done that on purpose. Like, oh, cha-ching, like I'm good now. I don't have to work anymore. Like now that I'm looking back, like, oh, maybe that's why he did that. But also the boss was horrible. From what he told me, there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, I don't know what's true anymore. Um, but no, he at that time he was making okay money, and he was helping pay for things when I came. But after that, he was only working every now and then.
Got you. Um, my next question is, and I hope it's not true. Do you know the person or the lady he was cheating on you with?
No, I don't know her like that, but she and I did
Okay.
have a conversation, and here's the thing about that, Easy. So what had me so angry was the fact that he was like pillow talking with her. I can understand, not that I would let me say, not that I would agree with a man cheating on me, but I can understand it more when you're just like, I got drunk at a club, whatever, stupid things. Nah, he was pillow talking with her. Like she knew like things that like she shouldn't have known about me or our relationship. And that's why I was like, wow. That's where it should have stopped, honestly. Like, yeah.
I, when
So
go ahead, easy.
now I was going to say that so it wasn't just a physical betrayal; it was also an emotional betrayal. You know,
Yeah.
Okay, well, Nikki, can I ask you something? What
You
do you
better.
what do you think you did wrong? Because I see several things, several glaring, huge mistakes that you made, but it wasn't my place to say at that time because it's not my relationship. But what do you think you did wrong that could have prevented
I
what you went through?
I know, not even think, I know several things that I did wrong. Rico, when I very first met you, me and Coach, we had that three-way conversation, and I'll never forget it because it gets me a little emotional actually, because I knew what y'all were saying, and I was like, I'm still so in love. I can't do it. I can't leave him yet. I've put
Right.
so much into it already. And I honestly thought like, yo, there's no way that he's not gonna be this gangster to do this type of BS in front of me. And Rico, you were already on it. Like, nah, he gonna do it though. He's going to do it.
Don't do
And
it.
I was just like, oh, I don't want to hear, no, 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 like, no, no. And it wasn't even that I thought, like, yo, it's me, it's Nikki. Like, I'm so beautiful and I'm so great that, like, he wouldn't do it. It wasn't any of that. I don't believe in that. Like, I tell people all the time, like, I'm regular pretty. Like, I don't think I'm like, oh, I'm so fine. No, like, I don't subscribe to that type of BS, right? Um, I was just so far in love and in debt financially as well, that I just hoped, like, and I told you guys that too. Remember, I was like, well, hope that's not happening. And if it is, I'll figure it out at that point. Like, I'm not gonna break, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and that was why, like, even at that point, myself and Coach and Trip, I had to measure what I told you and how I told you, because the bottom line, I could kind of see that you were fully invested. I hoped I was going to be wrong, but I knew I
Yeah.
probably wasn't going to be. And because not the, and let's just say this, you could be fucking Beyonce beautiful. I still would have
Right.
told you it won't happen because it has
Absolutely.
nothing to do with you. It has more to do
Exactly.
with circumstances, the culture, uh, what they're taught and led to believe. I don't have a problem with Latin men,
And a
but
narcissist, like a
Latin,
narcissist is gonna narc, bro. Period.
Latin in Latin America think in a very misogynist way. And that's because culturally, women are second class citizens. And if you come in as a strong willed, independent Western woman, that's going to ruffle some feathers. What I will
Yeah.
always say is, too, and I'll say this to the women and men, I think one of the glaring mistakes, one of the mistakes I think you made was when you told me how you had developed a relationship with his ex. I personally believe he was still fucking his ex. That's what they do. That's just, it has nothing to do with you. They don't stop fucking whoever they fucking. They go fuck somebody else. But as long, he was still fucking his baby mama. And he was pillow talking with her too. And I was like, I wouldn't have befriended her. But, I think that was a mistake. And then I also think the mistake that I think men and women, when they come to the DR, Colombia, Brazil, Thailand, anywhere, we always assume we have to give up ourselves and our culture and our beliefs to assimilate with theirs, and they don't have to give up anything. As you said, by you being the breadwinner, that other person must submit to you, because if he was the breadwinner, he would have fucking demanded that you submit to him. So I come from
Yeah.
the of you got to pay the cost to be the boss, and the man with all the gold make the fucking rules. Don't go over there into that country supporting them, and you knew you was going to be supporting them financially. You don't have to
Yeah.
emasculate them, but you also do not have to bend the knee to their bullshit. Just
Right.
don't do it. And the only thing I said to you at that time was, I said, make sure you keep your coins separate. So if you have to, keep you a golden parachute, because they
Yeah.
doing some fuck shit.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
You
just
know, and
to make you feel better, for you that it happened to, 200 men it happened to that same week that got fucked over even worse. The men get it
yeah.
worse. They're over there
Yeah.
spending money.
Yeah.
They're doing all that. And that woman is just running the streets. Just the men are getting it worse. And it's the same thing with the blinders, where coach put up the video. Don't come. If you never had a 9 or 10 back home, you ain't gonna get one here. And I always thought he was a fucking pretty Ricky. So I'm like, that pretty motherfucker been always getting shit. That old Rick Fox, green-eyed motherfucker. I said, look,
Yep.
this nigga been getting away with shit all his life on his looks. Period.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
personally
Yep. Yep.
hanky panky. That's what I believe. I believe, while y'all fell out, if he can't get you back, he gonna be out there on the host roll looking for somebody else.
The whole show.
Yeah.
Listen, a lot of people agree with you, Rico, but I want to get
Go
to
ahead.
some of these questions real quick.
Sorry.
So we could catch up with a few. Nah, you good. You was making some good points. People was amening you all in the comments. They was agreeing with you.
I agree. I agree with him as well.
Okay, so it looks like Kicks and Travels comment. He said, "You seemed so happy when you first came on the show 2 months ago, and all these issues happen now. Why were you still getting married if there were still so many red flags?" I think we kind of talked about that a little bit, but you can touch on it again if you like.
I'm glad he asked that, because you know what? Remember, we talked about this, you guys. The three of us spoke about this. Remember that? And even with Coach as well. Kicks and Travel, great question. I think that I thought, okay, maybe we'll turn it around. Maybe he'll snap back or whatever. And also at the same time, in the back of my mind, I said, it's just one more thing and I'm out. Like, I'm already over here looking crazy as it is. Like, I just need one more thing, and like Rico was talking about, like, the whole, if you're not 9 or 10 and you're coming to a country dealing with da 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 da. For me, I had already let my ex fiance know, like, you look all right. Like, you're not you're not fine as F. Like, you're not whatever, bro. Like, let's be clear. Um, I think we're on the same level, and I might even be on a level. Let me not even say that because I think that's ego speaking. But I have a about my personality. Like, I have a ay, Dios mío, like a spark, right? Like, people like to be around me, men and women. It's not even necessarily like a sexual thing or whatever. Like, I attract that thing because I'm funny, I'm fun, I'm articulate, I have the thing. He didn't have that. So when he got with me, it was kind of like, he felt a little bit on the backside, like she has the spotlight because wherever we went, it was I need Akita Niki, Niki, Niki. It didn't matter where we went. In DR, it was even that way. So, but again, let me finish up the answers to the question. Yeah, I thought that I could bring it back around, and when I saw that I couldn't, I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna cut my losses," and it was over $10,000 that were lost, bro. Like, I'm sure that might be another question. Over $10,000 were lost within this whole situation. Um,
It's just money. That's fine. You got your health, you got your sanity. Those are the two most
yeah,
important things. And hopefully you're a little bit wiser for it. That's all.
I
It's just
am.
fucking
Here's the
money.
thing,
That's
Rico.
all. Mhm.
Like, I was telling Co the other day. I said, I don't play about me. You know what I mean? I used to like not love me like that, but now, like, I really don't play about me. And so when I realized, like, the fact that you're gonna send me, and this is, I'm gonna tell the whole story of how it started, of when I left him, and we can do that after we answer the other questions so that you guys understand what led me to that. Because the fact that a man can not be concerned with my safety and the safety of a 10-year-old little girl, that was it for me. Like, when I get back to this house, in my mind, I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to be done because that's crazy to me. It's dangerous as F in Santo Domingo Este, depending exactly where you are in Santo Domingo. Like, and you're gonna say, wow, that was it for me. When you don't care about my safety, and you guys know that I carry a 9 millimeter, and the fact that I can't have my gun over there, so I'm over there naked, knowing that if I have to defend myself, I have to do it with my hands and things like that, or anything else that I could carry on me. I'm done because I love me for real. And I have family and I have friends that really and truly love me and care about me. I'm important. I'm valuable. My life is valuable. I matter. And the fact that I knew that for him in his mind, that all he's thinking is money and his family and what I can do for them, it really showed itself. And the fact that when I left him, his whole family disowned him, and it's not a thing of like they're just, oh, kiss on my butt. No, they have money. They're not the ones who needed anything from me. They were the ones who actually took care of me when I left him. Okay, so yeah, it's like that. Um, that's how like, dang,
But
if they're done,
you know what? Nonetheless, fuck him. Fuck his family disowning him. Fuck him. Don't the one thing you don't need to be, and I always hate to see women do this, is that you find the strength to do what you need to do, and then the
uh-huh.
first thing you want to do is feel sorry for the motherfucker that made you do it. Fuck him. Motherfuck him. I don't care
Right,
how bad he,
yeah,
you didn't do it. He did. You do
absolutely,
not have the right to feel any sympathy because you did not inflict this upon him. If it is, you walk
yeah.
away and say, hey, this none of that was by my hand. That's his decision, because that's how narcissistic personalities pull you right back in. Don't let them do it.
I'm telling you though,
Don't
Rico, I'm telling you, I'm the way that my love is set up at 42, oh my God. And I never would have imagined. And even my friends who've known me for years never would have imagined, because so badly I wanted to be married and have kids and do all of these things. They never would have imagined that I would leave and be okay with that, because I love me more than I love him. And that's the thing. Like, I realized, like, I really do love me more than I love him. And that's what made it easier for me to move on. Mhm.
Oh,
I don't
did you
owe
have
him
a
anything. I
question,
don't owe anybody
Easy?
anything.
Yes, I was going to say that part right there where you said your friends and family knew how much you wanted to be married and have kids at 42. I was going to ask you that. I was just waiting for the conversation to develop. If your wants and desires of wanting to have somebody to spend the rest of your life with and all of that let you let you look past some of those, what you said, red billboards.
Billboards,
You
yeah.
Red
Yeah, the red
flags.
billboards. No, she said billboards, brother.
Oh,
She said
okay,
she saw
okay,
billboards.
okay. Sorry.
Rico, flags are like this. Billboards are like way back here.
Got it. You shouldn't have missed them.
Now, okay, okay, because I thought you about to be acting like radio. I thought you were acting like can't get right. Okay, now you're on the boat. Okay, you know I gotta get on Rico. Since Coach isn't here, I gotta make jokes on him.
So I have another question though. Are you still looking for that? And what will you change as you look for that?
Ooh,
Am
that's
I
a good
looking for what
question.
specifically?
I guess a relationship and marriage, because you were saying you were interested in relationship and marriage. So he's asking if you're still looking for it,
And
and what?
children.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Great question. So,
Marriage, you said you're right. A marriage and children. Because it does take a lot at our age to be like, you know what? This is the person I'm gonna settle down and spend the rest of my life with. And
yeah,
you know that financially, you're the breadwinner. There's a very small amount of people in that country who can say they make what you make or more. They just can't do it. So,
Mhm.
are you still looking for that?
And that ties into Rick
so
James' questions of where do you plan to meet that person also, so you can just like lump that all together.
oh, Rick James. Okay, I see you now. Yeah. I would imagine that maybe I would meet that person online. It could be that I would meet them in DR as well because I am gonna go back either in December or February. On like a solo, not a solo trip, but like a girls trip. And I'm super excited to get back and do a trip on like a different like theme. Like, oh, I'm single, I'm with my friends, I'm not there struggling trying to like get this relationship thing back on track or whatever. And easy to answer your question, I'm not looking for anything. I would love for a man to find me and it be something great and it work out in that way. And I also recognize that if and or when it happens or doesn't happen, I'm going to be like I am now. I no longer place my value on a relationship or having children or anything like that. I'm just as valuable before, after, and during. Um, my goal right now is to make sure that I'm maintaining a good mental health, that I'm supporting the people that mean something to me, and that I'm making sure that the folks who have been supporting me, um, that they know how important that they are to me, and that I'm supporting them in the same way, and that I'm just genuine and honest, and that I'm vulnerable with the people who deserve that space in my life, and that I'm not vulnerable with those who do not deserve that space in my life, that I'm speaking with and having relationships and asking for advice from people who are qualified to give me that advice, and not asking for it from those who are not, and knowing the difference between, and just kind of listening more so to myself, and like, I got this, just like reminding myself like, yo, you're good, we good, we've been good, but we didn't know we were good, but now we trust us again, and we're
Can
making
I
better decisions.
let me ask you this, Nikki? Do you think you did what I think I see most I'll say Westerners do, whether and this is just not even just a Dominican, it's like anywhere. I think I know they do it. I know factually. Do you think you romanticize what you believed Dominican or Latin men cultures? Because what I'm getting at is like how, like I asked you, I told you before, I said, do you see the distinct difference culturally between a Dominican in the DR and a Dominican in the US. And
US.
what and what
Yeah.
people fail to realize, I don't care if it's a Dominican, it could be someone from Thai, Brazil, whatever. When people are raised in the US, they do not have the same culture of the countries that their parents came from. So
Right.
Dominicans in the US are nothing like Dominicans in the DR. Their culture more aligns with ours, and that's where I think the greater successes come from. However, I don't think that you can't pair with
Thank you,
someone in
Twin
that
Twin.
country. Huh?
Hmm. No,
I
I was just
just
saying thank you, Twin Twin. He said something super sweet.
I just think that when we romanticize it and we go into this, oh, I gotta accept the Dominican. I'm like, you don't want to live like a Dominican woman lives. It is fucking horrible. No, you demand that they, unfortunately, that they need to live up and evolve more in line with your culture. And I don't think we do enough of it because I hear guys say it all the time. Oh, Dominican women are submissive. They're raised to serve. And I'm like, that's all bullshit. It's not true. Stop romanticizing. And that's my question. Do you think you fell into that trap of romanticizing their culture and then all of a sudden you found yourself a victim of it?
Definitely, because here's the thing: when the relationship started, I felt like, oh my god, this is a movie. Like what? This is insane. Oh my god, this is so great. He was so freaking humble. You know what I mean? Like I just I couldn't get over it, and everything was yes. No matter what I said, he agreed to everything. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, my boy is watching. I think he said something to Co. Oh yeah, he says hello, Co. All right. Anyways, sorry, I got a text. Anyway, but the bottom line is, um, yes, yes, Rico definitely romanticized it, and it even goes back to when I first heard bachata music. I was in love with it because it was so romantic and it was so much like, I can't live without you. I'll die without you. You're my everything. And I'm hearing this in my 20s. I'm hearing this in my 20s. A low self esteem human young girl, okay, not even a woman, because really and truly my mind was as a young girl, right? Um, I'm hearing this as it's gospel. Like, oh, this is how they are. Oh my God, this is so much better than American guys. Yes. Oh my God. And you know what it ended up doing to me? It hurt me for many years. I was depressed for many years because I was going after something that was not real. Like that's not how it really is. And when I was seeing a lot of other people in their relationships, I thought they were having great relationships. What I did know is they were getting their asses beat at home by their men. Some of them they were being cheated on like a son of a bee. These guys had some of them had kids over in DR and kids here too, and had both wives and going back and forth and the whole thing. I knew and understood none of that. What I saw was the music and the visual, and oh my God, this is such a beautiful thing. So now the blinders are off and I'm just like, yo, if we can't be honest about like everything from like day one, it's a no-go for me. And I felt like obviously in this situation, I felt because I was the first woman who ever met all of the family, because even his baby's mama didn't know his mama, had never met his mama or his any of them. She knows none of them, which I was like, that is crazy and weird. And even when I went to the family in DR, none of them even knew her. And I'm like, y'all live in the same country. This is crazy. And I knew it to be true because the one girl has been we've been friends for 15 years. So that it wasn't a lie. Like I know for a fact they for real never met her. So again, read billboard, I guess, and it made me feel special. Like, yo, well, I must be the one because I know everybody, and even with the side chick, she knew nobody except for his brother. And was calling the brother because I was in town and was like, I haven't heard from him for 15 days. And he's like, yeah, because he's with his wife, stupid. Like, what are you doing? Leave him alone, That's a whole nother story. But yeah, in hindsight, I definitely feel like I'm just glad that I'm glad that he did what he did. And I'm also glad that I knew that I was like, nah, even had he not done what he had done, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, what he did.
Hmm.
Um, I think that not I think like I know because I think we all know how it is when you're in a relationship and you get to that point to where you're like, I don't like you anymore. And now I don't even really love you for real. Like I just need one more thing and I'm like, I'm done. And that's where I was.
But
And
I'm just
understand that, yeah,
I'm just
go ahead.
glad you're safe. That's all. I'm
That
just glad that
same,
you're safe,
same.
Yeah.
and that's the one thing that I would say. And I would even tell some of the guys, even though I'm probably less concerned about the men, but I'm like, still, guys, if you're not using your brain, it can be unsafe. And
Yes.
you said you're 42, you're old enough to know better. But like I said, I'm not here to beat you down. I'm happy you're safe. I'm happy you back home. I definitely think you should come back, but now come back with the blinders off and say, hey,
Yeah.
because I did try to tell people. I said, when guys talked about, in other spaces, I'm like, in Latin American countries, all Latin American countries, they have a very astronomical high rate of domestic violence. So guess
Yeah.
what? I would be pretty submissive if someone was beating my ass every day and nobody would do anything about it.
Yeah.
So what you
Right.
guys are calling submission, I call compliance. Yeah, you can beat a
Yeah.
motherfucker into being submissive because the police ain't gonna do anything. The laws are not there to protect women. So is it submission or
I
is it?
did hear though that recently, you actually can get someone arrested. Like his family told me, they were like, you should have called the police. And they were like, in fact, call the police now and have him arrested. I was like,
But
I
here's the
ain't trying to
thing,
do
Nikki.
all of that.
Yes, you literally can. But what is the likelihood of it? Because the very police you call is beating his wife.
No, listen. I'm just going to tell you
Go
from
ahead.
what I know from experience that you will get locked up in the Dominican Republic. Now they might lock you up and let you out in a day or two or even a week.
Mm-hmm.
You might not do serious time, but
Mm-hmm.
in the Dominican Republic, if you get into an argument with that woman and you hit her, they will lock you up. Just like
Mm-hmm.
John said when he had the argument with his girl and he didn't hit his ex and he didn't hit her, they still told him he had to leave. But I'm just
Uh-huh.
telling you what I know for sure. Now, do they have domestic violence? Yes. What I do know about Dominicans and Dominican Republic, when they love you, they are very territorial,
Right.
men and women.
So we do know, but easy. We do know the high rates of femicide, and we do know the number of cases of women having acid and shit thrown on their face.
Listen, can I say
High
something to
rates
that?
of domestic cases that's
Look,
running rampant.
I know for a fact about 2019 before the pandemic, there was a issue with that in Long Island. A young Spanish lady, early 20s, some dude just came up to her. It's out there in Long Island where they have a lot of MS-13, and some dude came up to her and threw acid on her face. They never found the guy, but she believed it was somebody who tried to talk to her, and she was not interested in.
Right.
So you're right.
But that, that it's not a
Usually
common
they said that
occurrence.
background noise is heavy. Oh, I think you just turned it off.
Right.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
not saying it's a common occurrence. I'm just sitting there saying is we're not gonna sit there and pretend like we know here in Western culture we have a system, a society where society protects women. The police come as much as possible.
I
I
get
ain't
you. I'm
me,
not gonna argue that.
but compared to those countries, it is astronomically different. And
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying is to sit there and pretend like that doesn't have some sort of effect, on how women respond in a society where your husband, because that was the same thing we had 50, 60 years ago here in America,
Yeah, when
where
your husband could like whoop your ass and it was legal
men,
and whatnot.
But
women
I'm
were
not.
very submissive.
But listen,
But
I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with what you're saying. What I am saying is, I don't want to make it sound like or seem like every relationship. That's what you make it seem like every relationship or 80% of the relationships out there, the women are not submissive. They're only compliant because they don't want to get knocked upside the head, and that's not the case.
I don't think
you
we
don't
gave
know that.
percentages. We're just talking about in general though. But you're
Right.
right. It's not. It's not. You know. Nobody's
But American women, I will say this, and I know you're gonna get mad. American women got it good.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I
I'm
agree with that. They got it real good.
I'm literally agreeing with you. They have protections that women in those
Yeah,
other
that's what
countries
Rico's
don't
saying.
have.
That people in the
Okay.
Dominican Republic could more easily like beat their wife and get away with it than you
Yes.
could in the United States. That's just the point that he was making.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Cole.
You're welcome. Let's get to a few more of these comments and questions. Kendrick said this a while ago. He said, I understand where you're coming from. I was engaged to a woman 5 years ago. She accepted my engagement. Then a week later, she dumped me. It will be okay. Trust me, there's better out there. Sorry to hear that happen to you, Kendrick. There's better out
Me
there for
too. Oh my
you.
gosh.
Let's see.
After 5 years, I'd
Wait,
be
I
mad.
think I know Kendrick. Kendrick, are you in Raleigh?
Look at her. She know where everybody at.
I think I know Kendrick. I think he's the father of a friend of mine's daughter
Ooh.
or son. Yeah,
And you
maybe. I
calling
don't know
out
if that's
baby
him or not.
daddies?
I know.
You putting
Kendrick, I hope
baby
you don't see
I
daddy
on
on
didn't
top
say
blast?
it
because
like that.
try you out on the
I
side.
think I think that's him, but I'm not sure. But I think I know him more as like Kenny, maybe. I don't know.
Baby daddy
Okay.
I
shout
don't know
out.
if it's him or not. I don't know if that's
Okay.
him.
That's so funny. All right. African Dominican said, yes, Nikki, you're a fire sign. Leo, I get you. Aries, me, and Sagittarius, Nicole, we are fire signs. People are drawn to our litness. That's true. And now
Oh,
she
yes,
did have
yes.
a question right after this. She said, 10-year-old. Who's the 10-year-old? I have to go back and watch the previous interview / live with Nikki. I don't think we addressed the
No,
comment
we
you made
never
about the
addressed the
10-year-old yet.
10-year-old. The 10-year-old is act okay. So I've been wanting to tell the how everything led up to what it led up to.
Okay,
But
let me see. Let's ask some
I
more
also
questions. Let me make sure, and then I
yeah,
can let
let's
you
do
like
that
run
and
through
then
the
let
whole
me go back
thing.
to that.
So we'll get caught up real
Yep.
quick, and then we'll just run through the whole thing. So we'll get to that African Dominican about the 10-year-old. African. She also says you need to go no contact with him. What's 80 stars? TV, good comments. I commented those. Okay. Have you met a woman that has a successful marriage / serious long-term relationship with a Dominican man? So yeah.
I mean, of course, but here's the thing: it depends on where she lives too. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
okay in my situation, I have one friend, and her husband is so dope that he's like a brother to me. She's an American, beautiful black woman. He's a Dominican. And it's so funny because they look like brother and sister,
Are
and
you
they're
talking about
married.
Tammy?
No, this
Oh,
girl,
okay.
her name is oh my gosh, her name is Callie actually. Her name's Callie, and her husband's Ruvain. And I
Okay.
was friends with him before I was friends with her. Like I met him and I was talking shit. I was like, oh, you're getting married to an American woman too. Like, are you a Sanky Panky? He's like, no, like I love her for real. And he ain't lying. Like I've been with him over the past year and like it's real. And I've been with them and they got married and yeah, he's in love for sure. I've met it, I've hung out with his family and everything. Anyway, I'm sorry, what was it?
I know.
The question is, she's the only one that I know that was in my situation that it was dope and worked out. That's it. I don't know anyone else.
There's
Miss Shanny
one.
B says she's been married for 7 years. Hello, Shanny.
I was gonna say this. There is one that I'm aware
Oh,
of.
that's Shania. Is that Shania?
Is
Yes.
that how you say it? I'm sorry, Shania.
No, wait, is that Shania from last week? Maybe
Yes.
our
Yeah,
sponsor.
I think
I
so.
think that's her. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shania. Sorry, we're gonna
Shania.
get
Hey,
her name. I'm
girl.
sorry, Shania. It's all love either way. But
But
yeah.
I did want to say this, Cole. I am aware of one. There's a Facebook friend of mine named Tammy, the one that Faye, that coach played her audio, and
Mhm.
she's been happily married with a Dominican man for, I want to say, maybe 3. I don't know exactly, but and it's really, hers is definitely really going good. It's the exception. It's not the
I mean, there's no
norm.
absolutes in any
No.
direction. Like, you're not absolutely guaranteed to find a great person anywhere. Like, I think just in relationships in general, it's not even about, I don't believe in good people and bad people, first of all. Like, people can be
I
both
say that
good,
all the
they can be both
time.
bad, and they just give you what they feel you deserve. Like, that's what I tell my daughter. Like, there is no good person deep down. Like, what are they giving you? Because that's what they think you should have. And if
But
they don't give you more than
Yes.
that, then they don't think you deserve more than that, and you should move on.
what I will
People
say
do
is
good things and bad things, and it's subjective.
what
Period. Like,
but
yes,
listen,
Co.
what I think, and I wish she would at some point, John would do an interview with her because she navigated her relationship very differently, very smartly. I think she knew, and she knew she was going to be the breadwinner, so she navigated it very smartly. They live in Punta Cana. Yes, she is the breadwinner, but he is very supportive. Just that, whatever. And it is, I'm telling you, it is the rare exception of an American woman with a Dominican man on the island. I definitely support Miss Sharonda and Miss Shania's. Well, maybe Miss Shani's relationship might be a little bit different,
No,
but
no,
Miss
you said it
Sharonda
right the first time,
husband.
Shania. Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry if I'm saying it incorrect, but Miss Sharonda, her husband, she met in New York City, so I don't count Dominicans in New York as Dominicans. They're Americans. I mean, we got to get out of this mindset of equate because they are so vastly different. They really are.
But Rico, I live
Yes.
in New York City. That's not always the case. A lot of them are very Dominican to the point where they
How?
don't they because they look
In
black and they will
Washington
tell you in a
tonight.
minute, I am not black.
I'm not
They
talking
will,
about that, right? But I'm not talking
but
about
that's part of it. That's part of it.
I get that part. I'm just talking about they know they
That's part of it
cannot,
though.
I'm saying they know culturally in the US, they cannot still maintain the same levels of machismo like they do on the island. It's just anywhere in the US, that shit's not gonna fly, and they know that. Dominican women in the US ain't gonna take that shit. They know that.
Bro, there's parts. There's a part of the Bronx known as Little Dominican Republic.
Yes.
You talking
They
about
got clubs
Washington
up there.
Heights?
Yes,
Okay,
Heights.
go ahead.
Yes, that was recent. They got clubs up there. If you go in there and you speak English, they will not serve you.
I'm not talking about,
He's
but you
talking
keep
about like
Okay.
what
equating
you guys were
things.
saying earlier, how you guys
Yes.
both
About
agreed that a man who abused a woman in the Dominican Republic could get away with it more easily than a man who abused a woman in the United States. So he's just kind of saying that again, like the Dominicans here are not allowed the same range of like you cannot be as aggressive with a woman necessarily in the United States as you could be outside of the country. So that's
Yes.
the aspect he's talking about. You're 100% right. Some of them only speak Spanish. They
Right.
don't think they're black. Like
I'm
all
okay.
those
I get that.
aspects are the same. It is just the like how much are you allowed to slap your woman around in public without somebody calling the cops on you? Or
Well,
if she
I'm a,
goes to the cops, how will the cops even respond?
exactly. There you go. If she
And
goes to the
how
cops,
you
if
even
she
start
That's what I'm
goes,
saying.
so look,
But
okay,
that's the argument though.
right.
Like that's the main point of it.
And the bigger argument of this code, they're not dependent on you in the US like they are in the
That's
DR.
true too.
In the US, they don't fucking need you because the government will provide. In the DR, there is no government provision. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, kicks.
And men know this. And in that
Yeah.
environment, if
Duh.
I know that you need me, I won't be a complete fucking asshole.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that.
that's a good point. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we are.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other questions you want to get in, or are you guys ready to hear the whole story in the chat? Are you guys ready for like the full rundown, or do y'all have some other little specifics y'all have questions with?
Take a deep breath, Nikki, and relax and tell your truth the way you want to tell it. And whatever you don't want to tell us shut the fuck up, mind our business. But just relax. You're in a protected space to tell your story the way you want. Go ahead.
Thank you, Rico. So the 10-year-old African Dominican's asking about. So on this Saturday, this was 3 weeks ago, on this particular Saturday, I was over at my ex-fiance's baby's mom's house with his son and his baby's mom's 10-year-old daughter babysitting them. I had been there for like 3 or 4 days because we were in transition from going from one apartment to the apartment that we were going to rent until I left the country. Actually, we were both going to leave the country. And so for those 4 days, the mother of his child had gone away to um, a resort with her boyfriend. And I've met the boyfriend. He's all right. Although he's, I guess, apparently whatever. I'm not even going to go there because that has nothing to do with the story. Anyway, so this day we went swimming. It was me, my ex fiance, his son, and the daughter, who was the 10-year-old of his baby's mother. This little girl has always looked at me like her second mother, like her titi, her auntie, whatever. And I've always been super sweet with her, and she's been just like a little friend to me, helping me out in the country about things that I didn't know about when my ex wasn't around and when her mom wasn't around, you know. So anyway, we went swimming this day, and on the way back, we had talked about getting a fan and getting some food. And I told my ex, like, it's a good idea that we go ahead and get that as soon as we get back, because it's about to be dark. And he was like, yeah, that's a great idea, let's do that. So as soon as we got back, he said, I said to them, like, all right, everybody, you know, get your dry clothes on, let's go, because it's about to get dark. So as I do that, he says to me, we're not going anywhere. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, we're not going anywhere. And I said, we who? Like, what? And he's like, yeah, me and my son, we're not going anywhere. And he was like, it's too late for me to be taking my son out. And I was like, well, we just talked about it an hour ago that we're about to go together to like go get the fan, because it's like an oscillating fan, like a big heavy fan at the grocery store, and we're in Santo Domingo Este. So like there's no way that me and a 10-year-old little girl are about to go out by ourselves. That doesn't make sense. And it's about to be dark. I'm American and we're both female. Like, what are you talking about? He was like, I said what I said. And I was like, all right. So she and I left to go get the fan. We went to go get the fan. We brought the fan back. His son saw us come back and told him, like, Dad, they're back. But we weren't back. We were just bringing the fan so then we could go and get the food. And we went to go get the food. We're gone for like 30 minutes because it's very hard to cross Dominican streets. If any of you guys have been to DR, it is scary and it is dangerous, and it's even more dangerous at nighttime to try to cross the street, especially when it's got the two one road going this way, or traffic this way and traffic that way. And so when we got back, I had 3 missed calls from my sister, 3 missed calls from his baby's mom, 3 missed calls from another family member saying that, like, where are you? He said he didn't know where y'all were. And I called his baby's mom and was like, we came back from getting food and stuff, and the fan, like, I don't know what just happened here. And her daughter was in the background like, Mommy, he knew that we went to go get the fan and the food. Like, I don't even know why he called you. And I'm like, exactly. We're both like, why would he do that? And then my sister was worried about me because he doesn't speak English. So he's like trying to text to her, has her like completely worried, like, oh my God, what do you mean you don't know where my sister is? And you said she took the girl with her, like, what? So my sister, she doesn't have a passport. My mom doesn't have a passport. So my sister's bugging out, you know? And I called her and I'm like, yo, like, I don't even know why he did this. So that had me like to my limit. Like, I was like ready to explode, because the fact that you can disrespect my family like that, knowing that you have them worried about me, like, I don't put my hands on people, but in my mind, I felt like I could have just like knocked his effing face off. Yes, narcissist, exactly. And I was just like, why would you do that? You know that, because like the time before he had done that, and like how my sister and my mom worried. So in my mind, like, I was already just like, I'm done. Like, nope, I'm not going to do this anymore. And so the little girl, the 10-year-old, she goes to sit down, and there's like ants on the table. And I'm like, no, Mommy, don't sit there. There's ants there. And he flipped. He was like, what? there's ants there. Yeah, you know why? Because you guys were eating there today. You didn't clean up behind yourselves. And I was like, no, actually, what you don't know is her mom was eating there 2 days ago and had crackers there and didn't clean up. We can call her now since you think you know so freaking much, but you've been gone for the past 2 days from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. DK working. Like, come on, bro. You don't even know what you're talking about. Like, stop. Just stop. So he's going off on this 10-year-old, and she's like bawling, crying because he's blaming her that, oh, look what you did. Oh, you dirty. You're this, you're that. And I was like, yo, stop talking to her. Close your mouth. Don't talk to her. Her mom's not here to protect her and defend her. So for right now, I'm her mom, and I'm not going to let you talk to her like that. Shut up. I ain't say shut up, but I was like, stop talking to her. And she was crying, and she came over and she's like hugging me. Exactly. Working equals cheating. Exactly. That's exactly what he was doing. And so she comes over to me and she's like, I was reading the comment, by the way, for those who can't see the comment. but yeah, so the little girl comes to me and she's like literally shaking, shivering, like crying. And I'm like, it's okay, mommy. Like, just, calm down, eat your food. It's okay. Like, I'm not going to let him do anything to you. And he's like, oh, okay, my bad. I didn't know about the food because I wasn't here. Okay. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry. And I was like, yo, okay, I heard you. Like, stop talking. And so then he grabbed me by my wrist and was like, ven acá. And I was like, are you crazy? You don't grab me. Don't ever do that. And that's where everything went left. And one thing led to another. I'm not going to get into all of that part. Just know that one thing led to another on his behalf. And I started grabbing my belongings, and the little girl was crying, saying, please don't leave me here with him. I'm scared. And I said, oh, I would never leave you here. Ain't no way in the world. That's not even your dad. And that's not your dad. Like, no, let's go. Get your belongings. I'm already letting your mom know that I'm getting an Airbnb for you and I. And I told him, take your son because I'm done. That's now your responsibility. I'm done with this relationship and I'm done with you. And we're out of here. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'll take my son. Yeah, I'm going to take my son. I'm like, yeah, please do. Because she's not your responsibility. She's my responsibility. And she's terrified of you. So we're leaving. So got everything together and called the cab, got the Airbnb. This is at 10 o'clock at night, you guys, in Santo Domingo. I don't know what's close. I don't know anything in that vicinity. I'm more familiar with Boca Chica. And so we end up, the cab ends up coming, and he left. He left his son there with me, did not come back and get him. And his son was like, his son is 5. And he was like, why would he leave me like this? And I said, I don't know. So I ended up having to take his son and his baby's mama's daughter with me. Neither of the two of them called me that night. The mom called me the following afternoon at 12 o'clock and was like, where are you guys? And I told her, San Isidro. And she's like, where is that? And I'm like, you're born and raised in this country. If you don't know where I am, I don't know where I am. Do you hear yourself? You sound crazy. Like, you sound ridiculous. And you're asking me where I am? Like, that was another thing for me. Like, the fact that his baby's mom didn't even check for her kids that night. And I've known her for a year. I'm like, what is happening here? So the next day, about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I had a family member come pick me up to take the kids back with me and drop them off. The daughter was so upset and just cried and
Oh, I'm sorry. I think that's a part of relationships people don't think about a lot. It's like the kids and stuff. Like when people are going into it, and that just really sucks to be like in the middle of that, with the children and to feel that weight on you. So I'm glad you were, the type of person who would keep them safe and not leave them in a situation. Even with the son, like that's so strange. Like I think, like what African Dominican said, that narcissist thing. Like, you even said you wanted to take your son, and your whole argument was about being there with your son, and then you leave the son when you leave. So, like, what really was the issue? Like, what really was the problem? That's a lot of weight to have on
Thank
your
you.
chest. Yeah.
Thank you, Co. Yeah.
I thank you for
And
sharing. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing.
thank,
Because one thing I learned from this is, and everybody should learn from this, take your time,
yes.
especially when you're dealing in a serious relationship with someone who lives in a different country and in a different culture.
Mhm.
Take your time.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that. And you're right. Like, that's the thing that I didn't realize at the time. Like, take take your time, I get, you guys, I get, worked up about that part of the story because I love that little girl so much. Like, she is such a super, oh my God, an amazing little girl. She was like, thank you, Nev. Thank all of you guys for your support in me telling my story.
Mhm.
Um, I have a special, like, I have a soft place in my heart for children. And that's where me and Coach, like, I get how he, loves kids, and I taught school. I've been a teacher for many years, and I've been, many kids got moms and things like that. So yeah, but anyway, the bottom line is I had to leave her there, and that was harder. It was harder for me to leave her there than for me to leave the relationship. You understand? Because she
Mhm.
didn't ask to be put in that situation, and it was really effed up that I couldn't even, like, grieve the fact that I just left my fiance, right? Like, I still had the responsibility of two kids that weren't even my kids. Like, it was like, how, what is this? But I do know that it's something that has made me stronger, and it's something that um I'm glad that I can share it with you guys. And if anyone feels whatever, oh, stupid, or whatever they want to say, I'm okay with that, because I know that I'm not stupid. I know that um I've been honest in this whole talk, and I'm hoping that it is helpful to someone. And if anyone has been in this situation, or finds themselves possibly about to be in the situation, they'll think back on my story and say, "Uh-oh, this feels like it may be headed in this direction."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think all relationships are pretty much that, though. I mean, it definitely, there's things that you can add to a relationship that make it a little more of a gamble. But in any relationship, you're gambling that this is somebody you can trust. You're gambling that this is somebody you can, like, unite yourself with. And fortunately, you found out before the marriage. Like, that's one of the
Yes.
positives, is that you didn't have to find yourself tied to this person in some, like, actual legal, way, where you now have to be like, damn, how do I now, I got to learn the laws in the Dominican Republic, and I have to figure out how to get a lawyer and pay for that. So at least the
And that's why,
blessing is, sorry.
you remember that conversation that we were talking about having a prenup and all of that. And I had actually had that conversation with him that night, after that segment that we did. And I told him, like, yo, um we talked about a prenup tonight on the show, because he doesn't understand English. So
Mhm.
I let him know, like, oh yeah, I let them know, like, if we were to get, if and or when we get married, I didn't say if, I was like, when we get married, I'm setting up a prenup, which means that whatever I come into the relationship with, I would leave with that if it didn't work out. Like, you already know what's up. And he was like, oh yeah, 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 no, yeah, I get it. But
Yeah.
I think he was just going along to get along, kind of a thing.
In the moment,
But
he's like, I deal
also,
with this when it comes to, like, when it happens, probably.
yeah, because here's the crazy thing. Before I got here, too, there was a conversation about him asking me, so when you leave, those first 5 days after you leave, can you leave the apartment to me? Like, don't pay it, like, pay it all the way up until those 5 days, so that I can have some time to pray and meditate with myself. I said, oh, We'll talk about that when I see you in person, when I touch down. When we touch down, you know what that conversation was? Are you crazy? I said, sir, you've cheated on me. You and I both know this.
Pray and meditate.
So do you think I'm about to let you sit around in a place, a nice place that I'm paying for, so that you can bring this girl that you cheated on me with and bring her here? Come
100%.
on, cut it out. Like, you're the same dude that when you met me, you were like, you're so smart. You are incredible. You're articulate. You're the bro. You know I'm smart. So stop gaslighting me. Like, you've
Mhm.
got me crazy right now because of all the gaslighting. Get
Yeah.
out of here. And he was just like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was stupid. Yep.
Yeah.
And not going to do it.
Yeah, African Dominican says she did a correction too. It says the key thing is to notice the love bombing and nip it in the bud. So no rushing and don't fall too quickly. And that's one of the things. It's so hard for people to like adhere to that in real time in a relationship when you like someone. Oh, he's just back. Come on ahead of me. Like, and John, he and I were talking about this too, and I was like, things like this can happen so quickly. And I was like, even John would get defensive when it's like you need to wait a little bit, like as much as he loves Dominga, it's like take a little time. Like, you guys don't have to rush things. Like, if she's a sweet girl, she'll be a sweet girl in like a year and a half or 2 years. Like, but rushing into a situation, like imagine if you would have rushed into your previous situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would
Right.
have been
Yeah.
stuck there. So it's like nothing against like the person. It's just like that Russian stuff. Like, you really are you can be rushing right past all the horrible parts of them that they're trying to keep stuff down. So
And see, here's the thing of that though, Co. This is
mhm.
where it gets tricky because the process, the paperwork is so god dang tedious and it takes forever. So for me, I was like, well, let's go ahead and do the paperwork early on because you're not even going to be in my country for a whole nother year from now anyway. And I'm coming to your country so that I can like keep my eye on you and make sure you're not still cheating on me, which is a whole nother crazy thing to say out loud. And it's the truth, right? But at the time, I'm just thinking, oh, yeah, by that time we will have been together for 3 years. When it's not right, it's not right. And that is one of the things that I had to start listening to, that gut, right? Like, this doesn't even feel like what it felt like at first. Like, all the first two times I flew over there, I had butterflies. I was excited. The last two times I was just like, what kind of F stuff am I getting myself into this time? Like, are we gonna get along? We not gonna get along? Do I have to cuss him out? Like, and I never really cussed him out, to be honest. I kept it submissive for the most part until it got to where I was just like, this makes no sense. I'm not about to submit to a person who's not even contributing and who's been doing me wrong. Like, no, all of that's out the door, which is why the arm grab happened, because he had never heard that tone of my voice. I had never spoken to him that way. And on this day, my foot was already out the door. So I was like, I don't even care. Like, what are you going to do with your broke ass? Like, what are you going to do? You're not stopping me, bro. I'm literally getting on the plane. You have no money to stop me from getting on the plane. You have no money to stop me from nothing. Like, ideal meal, like, bro, I know.
Yeah.
Girl, let me tell you, I'm getting hype already all over again.
So how long has it been since you guys have officially broken up? Like, what's the time frame so far?
So I left him on the 2nd of September.
Oh, okay. Less
And
than a month.
yep. Oh, this is the great part of the story too, guys. I left him on the 2nd of September, and on the 6th of September, we met on the beach because a buddy of mine is security there. He's like an uncle to me. To exchange, like, I needed my watch thing, my charger, because yeah. And then I had like his Jordans and some other stuff. Initially I thought to sell all of that because I was like, you owe me all of this. And then I was like, that's whack. This poor guy literally has nothing. Why would you take the little that he does have? And it didn't make me feel good to take from a person who already doesn't have. What does that do for me? Nothing.
That sucks. That's
So
the sucky part about being like having a good heart. I work my cat up. She heard me. That's the sucky part about having a good heart is that like people can screw you over and you'll still be like, here's $20. like, like I'm not a jerk. Like I found this 20 that you dropped. So here's your stuff. So
But that's
Yep,
what
here's
but
some
that's what
food because
Rico
I know
was
you don't have
saying.
any.
Don't feel bad about any of it. That's what Rico was saying. Don't feel bad about any of it because he pushed you to this point. He
yeah.
had it good. He screwed it up. I don't want to curse. He screwed it up, and now let him lay in that bed,
Uh,
and he already realized he effed up.
Yeah.
But it's going to hit him really. It takes some time for it to
he
hit you.
it's
I agree
messed
though.
up because he's.
Mhm.
I
Sorry.
was gonna say, yeah, this poor fella. He reached out like 2 days ago, like, hey, did you lock me out of the computer that you had bought me? Because now I can't get in. And I said, send me a picture of what you're talking about. He sent me a picture. I said, you simply need to plug it in to a wall that has electricity. Because I know you at like a little motel place where like you don't really have stuff that like what you had when we were together. I mean, I ain't say all that, but I simply said, plug it into a wall that works and you're good to go. I would not do anything of malice to you, honey. Take care. And he was
Yeah.
like, hey, I hope you're doing well. I'm wishing you all the success. I said, yep. And that's it. And I'm not mad at him. Like it doesn't
You get
make me
that text
happy to be
message like,
short.
you don't have to respond to this, but just know I still love you. And then you just delete it and like
Don't
never
respond.
respond to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I don't have a response, bro. Like you fumbled the complete bag, bro. Like you had it. Who has a woman that can dance all the dances, that speaks the language, who can talk to anyone in the world, who um can travel all over the world with her job, and you fumble that bag? This poor fella. I feel sorry for him. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't feel
I
sorry
don't
for
feel
me
sorry
though.
for him. I do not feel sorry for him at all. Because you're talking about a bag, but I'm talking about a life. As a man,
Yeah.
a life. His life is, I mean, somebody, well, listen, he's trapped. Where's he going? Where's he
He can't
going?
even look. I'm gonna
Is
tell
he
you what's
going?
crazy. Easy. Look. I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. This was the plan on this trip. The plan was we were gonna get married in October. In At the beginning of November, I was gonna pay for him to fly back and finally see his family for the first time in 7 years in Venezuela. I was gonna fly back here to the country, pay for the apartment up so that when we got back to the country, we had a place to live. Um, I was going to do the paperwork for his family to be able to come to this country. Like, he just messed up everything, and I hate it for his family because they still love me and they still want to be in my life, and I've had to let them know like I can't participate. I love you guys and I always will, and I can't participate anymore because it doesn't make any sense. And none of them have literally ever asked me for anything in the whole year and a half that I've known them.
Do you think you're
And
gonna continue to be friends with them?
I would not use the word friends, but if they reach out, I'll say hi because it's always just like, hey, just making sure you're okay. We love you, sending love, and that's it. None of them have been like, hey, have we talked to my brother? Hey, you think y'all can get back? Hey, it's none of that because they're all disgusted. They're completely disgusted with him. And again, now he has no one. Like,
Hmm.
wow, you went from having
Yeah,
all this support to now you have nobody.
that's interesting.
And
That
yeah, and here I am. I've gained a whole new family with the Dominican route, and I've had people reach out to me on the back end, and I'm like, damn, that's so dope. Like I appreciate that.
yeah. I'm glad that you found that too. I hate that you're going through all that. It just sucks when people aren't who I don't know. People aren't who they portray themselves to be. But it's It's tough. I'm sure you'll be able to. I mean, clearly you just like moved right on. I hope that you're like truly like going through the motions on the inside. I know that you know, just kind of want to shine along, but it's also like make sure that in your downtime you're like taking those moments to reflect or to
Feeling the
cry
feels.
or to to feel it. Like don't pretend like it's not there. Don't bottle it up. Like my suggestion, like with my ex, I specifically keep all of my anger just for him, like
Oh no.
specifically for him. Like I'm a
I
completely
like
different person. It's like probably gross to watch me talk to him. I'm super disrespectful, but I'm like, you wanted this. It's like
Wait,
just
is he the father of your
specifically,
child?
yeah. It's specifically for him.
Oh
Nobody else
God.
gets that level of anger from me but him. So it's
So you
like,
have to talk. Oh my God. So you have to talk to him. Listen, please know. And when you talk to your mom, she will tell you Nick felt the feels. Talk to your mom. Talk to your mom about the conversation that I had with her. And I am forever grateful for that conversation as well because um yeah, it was I don't know, did she tell you about it?
no, she didn't tell me about it. She kept it between you guys. I heard that you
Yeah.
guys had
Well,
talked, but
just
she
let her
didn't tell me
know that
about the conversation. Yeah.
just let her know that I said, yeah, like Nikki said, y'all talk, and she was like, tell you about it. So whatever she wants to, but I've not told her anything that I didn't tell you. So you guys
Okay.
have the same information, but just know that the conversation with her was like exactly what I needed in that moment. Like I cried talking to her and talking to coach. Like it was that moment of feeling the feels. So know that I've definitely felt the feels, and when the feels come, I allow them. I say, come on in here, feelings. I don't really want y'all here, but I'm gonna allow you to be here so that I can grow and be better and
Yeah.
heal more than anything I can heal. And I want to say real quick, the K travel, they
I was
said
about
for
to
women
comment
dating
on
that,
that. I want to know what
yeah,
Easy
for
thinks
women,
about that comment. I'm curious to what Easy's opinion is. What do you think about women dating down? He says it usually doesn't work out well most of the time. What's your opinion, Easy? Would you date a woman who made more money than you?
I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
I would date a woman who made more money
I
than
agree with
me,
him.
but I have other um I don't want to say standards, but I have other categories that I'm looking for. So I have four categories that I'm looking for. That's what I look for. And I could date a woman who money is not the issue. Other issues like does she have drive, ambition? Is she like is she, she just trying to get money? That's what you
Does
when
she
we talk
have
about money,
integrity?
that's my concern. Yeah. My four categories are she gotta be a Christian. She don't have to be a holier than thou. I don't want that, but she has to be a Christian. Two, she has to be feminine. I don't want no manly woman. Straight up.
Yeah,
Three,
yeah.
Is that
I'm
like
an African,
aesthetic feminine? Be
huh?
like aesthetic feminine, or like what do you mean by feminine?
By feminine, I mean aesthetic, or also mean that her her personality, the way she carries herself. Now, I don't. My family's from North Carolina. I'm not saying that she can't shoot a gun or or be a cop. My mother was a cop, but I don't want a woman who is trying to be more manly than me, be more assertive than me. I don't want that.
So like when you're around, you want her
Um,
to rely on you to like take care of things. Like if she has something like heavy, you want her to be like, "Baby, can you take care of this for me?" Or can you like you don't want her to try to take on those like in that way? Is that what you mean?
That really doesn't bother me. But as a man, I would want to do that anyway. But what I'm saying more of is I've seen it where you see a man and woman in a relationship, and that woman is talking to that man like, "Well, let's go." No, I want to
emasculating
stay.
him.
Yeah, we're gonna. I've seen. Listen, man, I've seen my mother do it to people because she was a cop, a detective, and she made more money than a lot of men she dated, but she was just a cop
Okay.
and she was very assertive in that job. So now you take that personality of being a cop, a detective who worked homicide and all this other stuff, and you're taking it other places with you. Where she would tell a man, "Well, is that all you're gonna leave on for the tip?" I'm like, damn.
Well, listen. I want to say this first. Don't just your mom. I love you, and don't just your mom. Not just the cop. She was a cop. That's dope. That's great. And I see what you're saying when you say that too. I completely see what you're saying. Oh, and quickly, Someone had asked me earlier in the comments if I was a Christian. Did you see that, Co? Somebody asked if I was like a Christian. I
I
think they said.
did. I'm sorry. Let me find it.
My other two criteria.
Yeah.
Um, I'm African American, so any woman I marry, she doesn't have to be a black woman or African American, but she has to have an understanding of my culture and how I love and feel about my culture. If you can't appreciate me and my, if you can't appreciate my people, you can't appreciate me. Which is why I never understood black people who can marry somebody who's racist toward black people. I just can't get down with that.
Hello. Thank you for that. I wish that more
You
people
understand what I'm saying?
because it's so important because especially if you end up having children with them and they don't understand the culture and like everything that comes with that. So I that's great. But yeah, real quick. What was the question specifically, Co? Did you
I don't see it, but let's just address it as if they asked if you're a Christian, and I'll keep looking for it.
I think the question was something along the lines of have were you a Christian or have you always been a Christian?
Did you grow up in
Something
church?
okay.
Quan asked,
There
did
we
you
are.
grow
So
up in church?
Quan, I did grow up in church, and so I don't. What I want to know is what led you to ask me that question. And to answer the question, yes, I did grow up in church, and as far as the way that I live my life now, I don't necessarily. It's hard to say that I would consider myself a Christian. I consider myself to be spiritual, and I say that because I cannot subscribe to the judgmental and like the all the hypocrisy that's happening in church and like there's so much stuff that it's just like I unfortunately I'm a church hurt person. I hate to even use that term like oh I'm church hurt. But I guess apparently that's what it is that I am. I have a very intimate relationship with God. I pray all the time. I also I'm very big on Taoism, the principles of Taoism, and a lot of that basically the short and long of it is going with the flow. Like if there's some if in life when we find ourselves going against and constantly trying to like fight things instead of just like accepting them radically, accepting that things are how they are. And when I say things, I mean things that are outside of ourselves, things that we don't have any control over changing. Those are the principles and things that have helped me live the life that I live right now. Those are the things that have helped me um, move through this breakup. I feel like 4 or 5 years ago, when I was a youth leader at a church about 5 years ago, I I wouldn't be having this conversation with you guys if I had that mindset right now because it's just different. I don't know. Oh, that's such a complicated conversation to have
Yeah.
and to try to explain, and also know that I don't purposely judge people that are super Christian or that do go to church. I I try not to judge them. I try to just say, and think like if that's really working for them and it makes their heart happy, that's great. I can't sit and say, oh, no, that's they liars in the church and they steal and they this and the pastors are that's not for me to say those things.
Yeah,
I'm just
Nick's Nation said it good. He said it's not really a church person, it's about being morally correct. You want for others what you want for yourself. So give love and you'll want love in return. That's a really good way of putting it. Thank you, Nick's
it is.
Nation.
And in my book, Trust Your Dopeness, y'all see that with my name,
Dang.
author
I'm
Niki.
sorry. My cat
Trust
just
Your
slapped my
Dopeness.
dog.
So what did she do?
She slapped. She
Ah!
slapped him in the face. I'm sorry.
I wish I could have seen it. She said,
She just punched him. She scared me, y'all. I'm sorry.
I wish I could
He's
have seen it. That's hilarious.
4 times bigger than her. She's like an ounce, and he's like 20 pounds. So I'm just like, sorry. Okay, I apologize.
Okay. No, it's all good. That's hilarious. But yeah, one of my favorite quotes that I wrote is once you stop judging yourself, you'll stop judging others. So that just goes right in line with what it is that he just said. And then Knicks Nation, is it Knicks K Nation
Yeah.
or Knicks Nation? My bad.
I don't know.
Okay,
Just make
so
the page silent. So
the material the materialistic mentality is what is killing relationships today. Absolutely it is. Like, who cares about, oh, look at us, we got our Jordans on. Who
you know what?
cares?
I'm
Like,
gonna disagree. I think the issue with relationships, Knicks
Knicks
Nation. Thank you,
Nation.
Knicks Nation, for clarifying how to say
Thank
it.
you, babe.
I think the issue is people are not looking for people who are equally yoked to them. Some people like nice things. Like, so find somebody else who likes nice things. If you don't like nice things, get with somebody who doesn't necessarily care about having nice things. Like, I don't even think it's just that it's materialistic. Like, there's tons of people out there who are interested in simple living. There's plenty of like non-makeup girlies and natural girlies and like crunchy granola bar girlies. Like, they're there. Are you looking for them? Like, are you in the places where they are? Or are you trying to take a girl who's like material looking, like the whole aesthetic, like hot girl summer type of chick, and then you're like, oh, she's beautiful, I want her, but I want her to sit the fuck down for me. I think
That's
that's
like,
the
what's the
issue
guy,
in
like
relationship.
Derek Jackson. That's the perfect example. Like, he
Yeah.
wanted his girl to sit down and look like a damn fool with that bonnet on, right?
Did
And
you
then
see her
left her.
before
That's
they
what I'm
got
saying.
married?
Yes,
Before
and
they got
then
married, she was
but at,
jazzy. She was jazzy
but here's
jazzy before they
right,
married.
but that's what I'm saying. He left her to
Yeah.
go get with the Instagram looking thing. Now she's now looking much better. I'm like, oh, hello, man.
I'm
Hello,
still
Miss
talking
Jackson.
crazy. I was following her on Instagram and I was like,
She needs a lot
girl,
of
the
assistance
spiritual manipulation.
of it
The
all. And that's what I'm
spiritual
saying. Like,
manipulation of
I don't have time and putting spells on folks and the vagabonds and the vagabond. Like, I can't with it. I cannot. I said it is the wishing that folks are what was it?
that your children
um
are fatherless.
Fatherless.
That your children
Yeah.
are
And
fatherless and orphaned. I was like, dang, girl.
Can I can I
right.
say something about the relationship? I
Yeah,
think
of
one of the
course.
reasons that relationships don't work, just speaking about America or in general, one is lies. There's so much lying, man. People are not upfront about what
People are
they really
showing up as
want.
their representative. They're showing up as their representative. That's it. Like, oh, hey, representative, this is what you like. This is what you're gonna want. And then of course they're not gonna
E-
hold it up because that was their rep. That's it. They're not gonna
Even
hold it
with
up.
dudes. Oh, I don't care
No,
about
I'm saying both men and
feelings.
women.
Yeah, but I'm talking about from a dude perspective, because for so many times as dudes, we put on this tough exterior, but you going home alone or sad because that woman who you really wanted, you wouldn't let your guard down and tell her how you really felt. You was hard with her too.
Yeah. I think a lot of guys
Like
like
a child.
don't like women like as people. Shut up. Shut the hell up. Shut it up.
And they don't have
Sorry.
respect.
I,
They don't have respect.
they
Like,
don't like them as people though. Like, you don't want to hang around. Like, a lot of guys have that like that MOB, if you know that acronym, which I'm everybody here should be old enough to understand that acronym. Like, I think that
yep,
like
yep,
we
yep.
are now the adults who grew up with that generation where it's like you value your men, like your relationships with men over like women. Like, that was the issue I had with my ex, and that's one thing I said I would never tolerate from another in another relationship. Where like my ex, I remember he was supposed to go out with his friends and I was like, oh, I wanted to chill. He was like, oh, I'll stay home with you. Like, it wasn't an argument. He wasn't mad about staying with me. He was like, oh, I'm gonna tell him I'm not going. And then he called. It's like, oh man, my girl tripping. Like, I can't go. I gotta stay. And it's like, why I got to be that? Why does it have to be like I'm tripping? Like, why do you have to pretend to your friends like I'm forcing you to stay? Why can't you just be like, I want to stay home with my woman tonight? I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Like,
Right.
why does it have to be this song and dance where like, oh, let me pretend like I couldn't go, like I wanted to be with y'all, but and I was like, that's insane. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
that. Like, that's not the type of like, why do you want people to think about
It's
you
like
like that?
cowardly. It's cowardly. And it's like,
Yeah,
I can't
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's a great example of what I'm saying. But at the same time, I'm gonna stick up for your man. I'm gonna stick up for him and say
Okay.
he probably was just doing that to the fellas because he didn't hear whatever when he didn't want to hear their nonsense. But with you, he was loving. He was kind. You know what I'm saying? He didn't argue with you,
That's
right?
not, but the point is, why are
But
you
but
making me? But at the point, like, why do you want to make me look like
you're
a
making me
bitch
the
to your friends?
villain.
Oh, okay. That's a good
Like,
point.
why
That's a
do
good
I
Yeah,
point.
have
like
to be
That's a
the
good
bad
point.
guy
like
in
I'm
your story?
needy. No.
That's a good point. That's a good
Like,
point.
I'm really big on public perception, right? And I will never like. Of course, if you're my man, if you're my friend, my kid, me and my dogs and my cat, like if we're together for a long period of time, we're gonna have arguments. We're gonna have disagreements. The moment you take our issues and bring them to other people, I'm done with you. Because why would you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
me
yeah.
look bad to the world? I would never. You know what I'm saying? I would
And
never
then
go out
too,
and put out some purposeful. Even when I vent about like my people, I always like throw in my caveats like, man, like this person, like I'm grateful for them, but like they pissing me off today. Like I don't make it like they are a person who is like this negative person. I don't want you to think poorly of them. I'm just mad at them right now. So I'm just about to pop my shit. But like don't make me be the villain to your friends. Like, why do they need to hate me? That's gonna be them encouraging you to do more fucked up shit to me.
Yeah.
Oh, his
No,
girl.
you're correct.
correct,
I
correct,
was wrong.
correct.
I had to. You're correct. I was wrong. I was
Oh,
wrong.
I appreciate that, Easy. I appreciate your conversation.
I
I
I, I
appreciate
really
that.
like that too. I like it a lot because that is something that I'm looking for right now too. Like going forward in relationships, like how do you converse with your friends and family? Like how are you showing up? Are you showing up as like what you're talking about, making me look crazy when that's not the case? When we just
Yeah,
had a regular conversation and you're making it like I'm over here begging you, like, oh please, oh my god, come on, dude.
yeah.
Like
Women don't want to be your nag. Like that's one of my biggest fears. Like it's to be like somebody's nagging ass woman as a story. That shit is so humiliating. Like that's so I feel
Mhm.
humiliated when I see men that I work with to do that. There was a guy in my job and he like not too long after COVID he had cancer and I think he passed away. I know he was married with two kids and the only thing I remember him talking about is how much he hated being married with two kids. I remember him talking about like when his wife was pregnant the second time, he was like, yeah, we got another baby. Like, and every time you talk to him, it was doom and gloom about his wife and his children. But I bet you when he was dealing with cancer, the person who was there for him was that wife that all I know is how much he didn't want to be in that marriage. You know what I'm
And the
saying?
doom, yep,
That's a
and I
great
and the
point. That's
Like
a great
I
that
point.
and I
hurt
think
me. I
too
hated that.
the doom and gloom and all the stress that he put behind that, unfortunately, is probably what helped to keep him sick. Like people don't understand and know how really that type of thing affects our body. Our mental affects all of that. So unfortunately, he might have been, might have helped himself to that, and
Yeah.
that's unfortunate, and I hate to hear that, but dang, I was gonna say something else.
Can I?
Allow further coming. You're exactly
Go ahead,
Shania.
Easy. What were you
Yes,
gonna say? Easy, you had something to say?
I was gonna say because the doom and gloom and y'all were talking. It's amazing to me how many people go through life and just I don't know if they realize how sad and down and depressed they are,
They don't.
and they might be in a good situation. Like I know dudes who are with a chick or were one dude who was with a chick had it good. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Marry her, be with her. Nah, son, you don't understand. And of course, there might be something behind closed doors, but when he's told me what the issue was, I'm like, what are you talking about? That's not an issue. Go enjoy your life, bro. Nah, nah, nah. Where's he now?
and the worst part
Single?
about it is, yeah, and the worst part about it is like if it's so bad, why are you still there though? Like, what are you doing? And honestly, that's what happened with me. Like I kept hearing myself say these things about my relationship, and I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, why are you still doing this? You sound crazy,
Yeah.
self. Like, be done with this because when people come to you saying these things, you're thinking to yourself, well, be brave and leave. Be brave and leave because right now
Mhm.
you're you're not being brave and you're still there and you're getting more and more sick. And I started to feel sick myself, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
And I was like, I can't help people if I'm not helping myself. And
that's
ever
true.
since I helped myself, and here I told you on the back page, Co, the fact that I was able to sleep so well, like a baby, after I
Mhm.
left, the fact that I had a whole appetite, the fact that I could breathe again,
Yeah,
I knew like, wow, this is different. And I'm a huge believer in unlearning. And a lot of people that I meet, they don't even know what unlearning is or what it means. Unlearning is the act of doing life differently, a way that you've never done it before, knowing that it's better for you. Basically, that's the way that I could explain it. Because
yeah,
I knew that if I were to drag it on and keep texting and calling and, hey, are you all right? Do you need anything? Are you okay? That's what I would have done 5 years ago. I knew that this go round, I'm not doing any of that. I hope the
yeah.
best. I pray for him, in fact.
Hmm.
Um, and I ain't got to pick up the phone to do that.
No, you
Just
can definitely
knowing that
love
I
people from
know.
afar. I pray for a lot of people I don't never
Yeah,
plan on talking to again.
yeah, yep, yep.
Well,
And
look, you
that's
guys,
me. Like,
it's been about 2 hours on here, so we're gonna go with our closing thoughts. Any last words? Easy, you want to go first? Any last words or advice you want to give out before we shut it down for the night?
Yes, the number one thing I take away from this is take your time. When in a
Yeah.
relationship, I take my time. Um, uh, take your time, man. Love is important, but take your time because once you get in there in that relationship, married, then you're talking about a whole legal situation you got to get yourself out of. Let the person show you, let the people show you who they really are. Take your time. But
Nice.
thank you for sharing, and I had a good night. And good night, ladies.
Thank you. We appreciated having you.
good
You
night,
No
you really
Nikki.
added to
kakalaki.
the
Thank you.
conversation. All right,
So
Nikki, do you
crazy.
have an IG? Can you drop your IG in the chat for the people who want to follow you?
I'm not signed in. If I click join the chat, will it knock me out of our of me like being on camera?
I don't know, so don't do it right now. We'll post it
Okay.
soon. We'll get her an Instagram and we'll post all that
I'm
stuff on the
gonna
next
I'll
live.
tell it. I'll say it real quick.
Okay.
It's Nikki La Nena because I have a baby face, La Nena. Um, but it's Nikki Niki as you see there underscore LANENA. So Nikki underscore La Nena Nena. And African Dominican, I'm sure you speak Spanish, so you understand. Nikki La Nena. Nikki underscore La Nena. Um,
All
did you
right.
want me to go first for my last word, or you're gonna go first for your
You
last
can go
word?
first.
Well, thank you. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for no mommy. It's with one it's with 1K. So Niki. I'm sorry. Where you like look at my name here on the screen. So Niki and then underscore LANENA. Nena. Okay. Um thank you guys for listening to my story, and I feel like everybody was respectful today. Like that's dope. I really, really appreciate that. Nope, that's still wrong, honey bun. The
Nina,
spelling.
N-E-E-A.
Nena. It looks like Nikki La Nina, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know. I don't know how
We
to
forgot
say it
the
in
lie.
English. Oh yeah, you're so close. Nikki underscore. Yeah, you forgot the la
You forgot the
underscore
lie.
la nana.
African
Yeah,
Dominican, we
just
appreciate
act.
you so much. She's going
Yes.
through it over there, girl. We rooting for you.
But it's so funny because like I follow her. I've been following her for a while. Don't give up. Don't give up. Just add the. Oh my goodness, Nikki! Yay, you got it! Woo, 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 woo.
You did great,
Wave up,
girl.
wave up. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Thank you guys for allowing me this opportunity to talk. Yes, Quan, you got it. Thank you
Mhm.
guys for allowing me the opportunity to come on and share my story with you. Thank you for being respectful. And there's so much more to come. And I'm so grateful for Coach bringing me on as a co-host with Co and Rico with his salty air. No, I'm kidding. Um, I love you guys, and I'll be back in DR soon, man. We're gonna have a good time. And look, girl, when you coming to the DR, we're
I'm
gonna we're
coming
gonna we're
soon,
gonna do
probably in the
something.
summertime when school's out. I got like volleyball. My daughter's playing volleyball this year, so my weeks are like practice game, and then like we're doing a lot of gym.
How old is she?
She's 14.
Oh, okay, so she can travel
Mhm.
and like
Yeah,
okay,
she's gonna come with me
okay.
when I come, 100%.
Okay, and I get that too. That sounds good. I like that. Do you think you could go in July?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because Favor and Jay are going. So it's the Dominican takeover women.
Okay, I'm gonna be there in
Dominican
July.
route takeover.
I'm gonna write that down now. I'm not acting, even though he put Kyle. That's not my
End
name.
of right.
All
End
right.
of July. End of July because my birthday's August 3rd. So we'll go into
Okay,
my birthday.
I got you. 100%.
Okay.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the Dominican Route Live. I'm gonna go call John. I'm surprised he hasn't been lurking in the comments, see how he's doing. But you guys have a great night, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.